FFS in less than a month, so let's talk about what I'm getting done. Normally, it's a cis person asking me when I talk about this, they're like, what are you getting done? And I feel really weird, and I don't want to say it because I'm like, why are you asking me about my most deeply held insecurities? But I actually think it's helpful to talk about it, and especially for trans women and trans femmes who are thinking about getting it done. So this is what I'm doing. I am going to get a hairline reduction. I'm also going to get a facelift. I'm going to get my brow bone shaved down. I'm going to get my orbital bone shaved down. I'm going to have space for eyeshadow, okay? I'm not going to touch my nose. I'm not touching my cheeks. And then I'm going to get a lip lift. I'm getting permanent lip filler. And I'm going to get a jaw reduction. And then I'm also going to get my trachea shaved, which honestly, my trachea barely shows at all. But I have started to notice it. So I'm like, bitch, we need to just get rid of that while we're in there. So let me know if you have any other questions.
But you can't, you can put lipstick on a pig. It's still a pig.
So that fellow we just heard from in the first clip started out by saying FFS in less than a month. Now, for those of you that don't know what FFS means, it's facial feminization surgery. My question is, if they can finally be their true, authentic selves after coming out as trans or non-binary or what have you, why do they then go and change literally everything about themselves? Anyway, welcome back. Thank you guys so much for joining me. So I have a fairly quick and very crazy clown world update for you guys today. And as usual, we have, very little time to waste. So let's get into it. Now, if you place your attention on the screen for a moment. So this individual with the 5 o'clock shadow coming in is Denise. Now, Denise is fairly typical as far as what we're used to seeing here on the channel on a daily basis. Biological man, trans woman, lesbian, she, her pronouns, and ladies' restrooms. What?
What is your f***ing problem, man? Huh?
All right, let's keep it moving with everybody's favorite paid establishment shill, the young lad Harry. Now, yesterday, Joe Biden gave a press conference that was supposed to put everybody's mind at ease and prove that he doesn't have any cognitive impairments. And young Harry, well, he thinks it went perfectly. Roll it.
President Biden just gave an hour-long press conference with no notes, no teleprompter, no knowledge of the questions beforehand, and he executed it perfectly.
I'll take your questions. I've been given a list of people to call on here.
He got tough questions and gave great answers. He talked in depth about foreign policy and the issues facing the United States.
I'm going to go to South Korea. We're going to get the chip. What are you doing? I'm going to get Japan and Korea.
So can we get over this Biden's too old? Can we get over this he's not fit to serve? That is a man who just talked in depth about China, Russia, Ukraine, domestic policy, foreign policy, issues facing the entire world. Are you kidding me?
And now I want to hand it over to the president of Ukraine, who has as much courage as he has determination. Ladies and gentlemen, President Putin.
I would love to see Donald Trump try to keep up. I would love to see Donald Trump try to talk about the things that President Biden just articulated at that press conference. So it's time for us, the Democrats, to unite and support President Biden. This is a man who is competent. He's uniquely qualified to be president, and I am excited to vote for him.
Meanwhile,
look, I wouldn't have picked Vice President Trump to be vice president, but I think she was not qualified to be president. So let's start there.
President Biden just gave an hour-long press conference with no notes, no teleprompter, no knowledge of the questions beforehand, and he executed it perfectly.
Who the f*** do you think you are, you crazy little shit?
All right, next up we have this lovely lady who says if you are still supporting Donald Trump, then you are a bad person. And she's going to go through the list of phobes and ists and isms and explain each one. Now, I know what some of you are thinking, and you're wrong. This is not the second round draft pick for the New York Jets. Roll it.
If you are still supporting Trump in 2024, you are either one, some, or all of the following. You are racist. You are a homophobe. You are anti-trans because you claim they are grooming your kids. Meanwhile, you dress them up, slap a bow on them, and hand them right to the church and cover it up. You are an Islamophobe. You are violent. You claim to be pro-life so long as the baby's in the womb, but you have nothing to say when Trump cut funding for much-needed child care programs. You claim to be pro-life, but many of you are kid lovers, and you know what the f*** I mean. You are poor. You blame other people, and by other people I mean black people and people of color, for your failures in life. You love America so much, but all of y'all was quieter than hoes in church when Trump cut funding for the veterans that you claim to love and support so much. If what I've said has you in your tender whittle feels, then I'm talking to you. Take that energy and go argue with your mama, honey, because I said what the f*** I said.
What did you say? What the f*** did you just say?
You are racist.
I'm not racist. Every Martin Luther King Day, I order a cup of dark roast.
So it's been a minute since we've heard from Jeffrey, our old pal Jeffrey. Now, here Jeffrey says that author J.K. Rowling is part of some hate group. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't J.K. Rowling just say that she doesn't think trans women should be allowed to play in women's sports? A statement that the vast majority of people, I think, would agree with, right? Roll it.
Is J.K. Rowling part of a global hate group? The United Nations said yes. UN Women released a statement. This is the Council at the United Nations that looks at women's rights globally. They announced a statement saying the gender critical movement, which is what they call themselves, aka the TERFs, are part of a global movement to undermine women's rights. TERFs hold a hierarchy in their mind of which women are better than other women. And like my eyes were like, boing, 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 at this part of the statement. TERFs are involved in these interesting hobbies in addition to undermining feminism around the world. Here's your definitive answer. Every time somebody is like, J.K. Rowling she's not really transphobic, is she? Send them over to the United Nations. Thanks for fighting, and thank you for being part of our movement of peace and love and kindness. Bye.
That is without a doubt the dumbest thing I've ever heard. You are a f***ing idiot.
All right, next up we have this individual who is a biological man that identifies as a trans woman and calls himself a lesbian, but that's not relevant to this clip. Now, what he's known for is going around to different restaurants and trying to get the waiters and waitresses to misgender him or use the wrong pronouns. Then he goes and talks to the restaurant management and tries to get them fired. Anyway, he comes up with some hypothetical here in his head about misgendering and using the wrong pronouns, so roll it.
Let's say that your imaginary coworker Beth just came out as a transgender woman who uses she, her pronouns. Let's also say that her dead name, or the name you used to know her as, was Brian. One day, you, Beth, and Steve, another coworker, go out for drinks to meet a new client. But Steve accidentally introduces Beth as Brian and says he instead of she. Dang it, Steve, you misgendered and dead-named Beth. This is not cool for a couple of reasons. First, and most importantly, you hurt Beth's feelings. Also, Beth now either has to be Brian to these new clients, which is super uncomfortable, or out herself as transgender, which is something no one should have to do. So you're standing there and this happens. What do? Lean In recommends responding with a quick correction. Hey everyone, Steve made a mistake. He actually meant to introduce you to Beth, who uses she, her pronouns. From there, Steve should give a quick but sincere apology and move on. There's no need to get defensive or over-apologize, because that might lead to Beth feeling like she needs to comfort Steve for his mistake. And look, we're only human. Hopefully this helps Steve, or anyone who's ever misgendered a trans person, to be more mindful of names and pronouns next time.
What the hell are you talking about?
Hey, real quick, before we go any further, I want to give a huge shout out to the sponsor of today's video. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to let this loop on the screen. Well, another extreme case of body modifications, or body mods, as the cool kids say. Anyway, today's video is being brought to us by the Etsy store Red Clover Fields. Now, many of you know that is my wife's Etsy store, and she's got some fantastic stuff on her website. Stuff I use every day, and I swear by it. But listen, don't take my word for it. Go check out some of the reviews on her store. So if you want to try to get away from Big Pharma and look for some more natural remedies, definitely go peruse her store. I will put a link to that in the description box below. So once again, today's video sponsor is the Etsy store Red Clover Fields. Now, if you'd like to sponsor the next video and help support the channel, there is a PayPal link in the description box below, and I will say your full name as a sponsor of said video unless stated otherwise by you. All right, I think we've seen enough of this for one day. Get this off the screen, please. Oof.
You look ridiculous.
All right, guys, we're going to be wrapping it up with a couple of news clips. And the first clip we're going to see is of Congresswoman Maxine Waters on CNN. Now, when I first saw this clip, I could not stop laughing. I didn't think it was real, but I assure you, it is. Now, I'm not sure what this clip is about, but keep your eyes on Maxine Waters. She's got some kind of wardrobe malfunction with her wig or something. Roll it.
They've seen President Biden. They've lived through his presidency. They've also seen former President Trump. They've lived through his presidency. They've heard these arguments about democracy, about the fate of the election. And yet Trump is not only winning, but winning increasingly by a larger margin. So what is the plan among Democrats to change that trajectory? It sounds like you're talking about saying and doing all the same things, but do you believe that something needs to change?
I think we need to keep working.
Oh, Jesus! What the hell's going on? I mean, what the hell is going on?
All right, guys, we're going to be wrapping it up with this clip of race grifter extraordinaire Reverend Al Sharpton on MSNBC talking about how there was no black reporters asking Joe Biden any questions at the press conference last night. Like, who really gives a shit about that? Except for blatant racists like him. Anyway, things are clearly getting very crazy out there, guys, so please take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Till next time, I love you guys. Peace. Roll it.
I looked at the press conference last night and said, where are the black reporters? I mean, we're looking at all whites questioning Biden, and black voters supposed to just get in line. So I think that a lot of the people that are stepping out there are taking things for granted.
What the hell did you just say?
I mean, we're looking at all whites questioning Biden, and black voters supposed to just get in line.
That's racism, man. I love to racism, bro.
And you ain't black.